Hello, and thank you so much for visiting my page. I just wanted to take this time to tell those of you all who are parents to just be mindful of the things that you're giving your children. It's something that sometimes we overlook because we're so busy trying to appease them. We don't want them screaming and yelling in the store and embarrassing us. So we tend to just go along with whatever program they're giving us. And if the program is buy me this, or else, then for some parents, guess what? They're going to buy. And so in this case, my sons have a lot of figures, a lot of action figures. We've got Captain America, we've got Spider-Man. And I will tell you that this is just the beginning of the indoctrination. I mean, this happens before the video games. When they're babies, they can't pick up the controller and sit there in front of the screen and move the people here, there, and everywhere. But as they get older and they start walking and moving around and talking and doing this, that, and the other, once they can get their hands on things like this, it's all over. Because they're going to watch the television at some point and see that Spider-Man is doing some interesting things, a lot more interesting than the average Joe. And let's talk about the average Joe real quick. The average Joe is that construction worker, right? Or he's that guy sitting in the office and he's wearing the nice suit or, the nice polo shirt. That's not as interesting, right, as this guy over here. This guy over here, he's a bionic man. He's a supernatural. He's got something going on with him. And of course, there's a darkness about him. Okay, now, how does all this play a part later on in life? Well, it all depends. If your child is around enough people that are like this and they're teaching, teaching him or her some positive qualities, and there's that balance in that child's life of good and evil, so to speak, then, you don't have to worry too much because you're trying to show them all they need to survive in this world. But if your child is being inundated often with this guy who's like, yeah, it's about revenge, it's about payback, it's about, destroying cars and trucks and people and places and things and taking what you want and all of that, well, then you know pretty much what the outcome is going to be. And so a lot of these video games have violence in them. A lot of these video games actually reward you and give you points when you do bad things. But before the child gets into the video gaming, we have to look at the figures. Are the figures promoting good character or bad character? You see. And we also have to look at the child. Is the child going to school fighting? Is the child wrestling? Is there sibling issues going on where somebody's good guy, somebody's bad guy? It all depends. It all depends. If the child is going to look at the toys as something positive, then the parent has to be the one to show them the good in the toys and how they're properly used and all of that and what the significance is and what these symbols mean and all of that. But if the parent's not taking up that time, well, there's some people on television and elsewhere that will make sure your child is taught, whether you like what they're saying or not. There are those video tapes that children watch, or DVDs, and unfortunately, there's some people with some interesting agendas, as I'm sure some of you all already know, that pretty much want your child. They want your child to be the next soldier. They want your child to be the next puppet. They want your child to tell on you. They want your child to be everything but your child. And so when we're putting these things in front of our children, we have to ask ourselves, what are we promoting? What are we teaching them? Because everything that's placed in a child's hand is teaching them something. It's teaching them something. Here we have a guy who's just a worker, a foreman, if you will. But then you've got this individual, right? The Hulk. much more interesting, action-oriented character. We've got to talk to him, explain to him what's good. Is it good to be destructive? Or is it good to be productive? What are we teaching our kids? What are we teaching our kids? And then, of course, we've got our plug and plays. I mean, this is early indoctrination too, I suppose. Superhero characters, good, bad, and otherwise. Well, if you become a police officer, you know there's the good guys and the bad guys. If the child becomes a soldier in the army, there's the good guys and the bad guys. And then sometimes the bad guys may end up being innocent. But, if you're already pre-programmed, you might just convict without a jury. Well, hopefully you will be able to go through my hub page and learn a thing or two. And if you are guilty of having some things placed in front of your child that are not good, the kind of things that is affecting their grades, every time you look up, instead of being wiser and smarter, it's like they're dumbing down. Blame the TV and also blame yourself, because you got to look at how much time you're really spending with your child. Well, thank you so much, and please do enjoy the blog.